Arcadian Vanguard presents The Wrestling News in your daily wrestling newscast for Tuesday, December 24th, 2024. Good morning, I'm Mike Sempervive. We begin this Christmas Eve edition with last night's Monday Night Raw broadcast on the USA Network and featuring matches taped on December 16th at the TD Garden Arena in Boston. In the main event, Drew McIntyre pinned Sami Zayn. The show concluded with an after-match brawl pitting McIntyre and the Bloodline against Zayn and Jey Uso, with Zayn and Uso left laying to end the show.
How much more can Sami Zayn take? And to think where Jey and Sami were back at Survivor Series War Games when the original Bloodline defeated this new Bloodline. And now after Sami was so brave to take on the challenge again against Drew McIntyre, this is how the evening will end.
Zayn and McIntyre also fought during the opening promo segment, with Uso making the save then as well. In the opening match, Io Sky won a Women's Intercontinental Title Tournament first-round triple threat match with Alba Fire and Natalya.
Able to counter it.
Io Sky desperately hanging on to the top rope here. Wait a second.
Here it is! Over the moonsault for the win to advance.
Here is your winner, Io Sky!
During another promo segment, Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods of the New Day called out both Big E and Wade Barrett for going into early retirement due to injury. In other results, Damian Priest beat Dominic Mysterio by disqualification due to outside interference from the Judgment Day. Dexter Lumis beat The Miz by disqualification due to interference from the Final Testament, and Chad Gable defeated Akira Tozawa. Gable refused to break an ankle lock after the match, leading to Otis making the save. In ratings news, last Friday's pre-taped edition of SmackDown drew 1.326 million viewers to USA Network, according to Programming Insider. That's down from the 1.53 million that tuned in for the previous week's episode. The rating in the 18 to 49-year-old demographic was a .37, which was significantly down from the previous week's .47 demo rating. AEW Rampage, which aired later the same night, drew an audience of 227,000 viewers to TNT, according to Programming Insider. That was down from the previous week's audience of 279,000. The 18 to 49 demo rating was a .06, also down from the previous week's rating of .09. In injury news, Bandito confirmed on social media yesterday that he sustained a concussion during his comeback match last weekend at Ring of Honor Battleground, New York. Bandito had spent more than a year on the sidelines due to a previous injury. It is not yet known how much more time he will now have to miss. And finally, in TNA wrestling news, the company has struck a new television deal in Canada, according to an official statement yesterday. Rogers Sportsnet 360 has agreed to carry Impact on a weekly basis, starting with the January 2nd episode. The show will continue to air on Access TV and on the TNA Plus app in the United States. And before we leave you today, we'd like to remind you that however you consume your content, you can find the wrestling news 24 hours a day and 7 days a week across social media. On Twitter, follow us at Wrestling News AV. Our Facebook page is also Wrestling News AV. The Wrestling News can also be found on the Arcadian Vanguard YouTube page. And for those who utilize Amazon Echo devices, just tell Alexa to play the Wrestling News podcast. And remember to make sure you add podcast at the end. Once again, for daily updates, breaking news, and more, follow the Wrestling News across social media. And that's the news for today. If anything happens, we will be here to tell you about it. No clickbait, no paywall, just the Wrestling News. The Wrestling News is a division of Arcadian Vanguard, and the Wrestling Newscast is a production of the Arcadian Vanguard Podcast Network.